The marketplace of disgust. The twin suns were high above the dusty sky of Gorvax 9, a trade planet filled with noise, color, and the stink of 10,000 species. Merchants shouted, alien creatures bartered, and ships flew overhead. It was busy. It was crowded. But in one small corner of the marketplace, there was silence. A young alien girl sat on the ground, back against a cracked wall, knees pulled to her chest. Her skin was hidden under thick layers of mud, dust, and dried blood. Her hair was tangled, filled with trash. She wore torn rags, and her eyes, though tired, still moved carefully, watching every person who passed. Most didn't even look at her. Some wrinkled their noses and walked faster. Others laughed, pointing at her, calling her names in different languages. Filth blood. Rot girl. Trash scum. A small alien child threw a fruit peel at her and ran away laughing. The girl didn't speak, she didn't cry, she just sat there like a shadow. The traders nearby had made signs. Do not approach the cursed one. Stay away. Disease risk. Unclean and dangerous. But then, a tall man in a simple brown coat walked into the market. He was human, Jason, a traveler from Earth. He wasn't rich or famous, just someone who carried tools and fixed things. He had a calm face, strong hands, and kind eyes. Jason had come to Gorvax 9 for parts, but as he walked past the crowd, something made him stop. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't a noise. It was silence. Her silence. He looked and saw her, sitting, alone like a ghost in a sea of life. He turned to a vendor. Who is she? The vendor spat. A cursed girl, dirty, dangerous, don't touch her. Some say she carries sickness. Some say she's marked by death itself. Jason frowned. Is she human? No. Some kind of noble blood from the Girellan race. Or used to be. Thrown out of her clan. No one wants her. Now she just sits there, waiting to die. Jason looked again. Her head was down. Her arms were thin. But her eyes, when she looked up for a second, were full of something. Not madness. Not fear. But pain. Jason walked closer. Hey, he said gently. She didn't answer. He crouched down. Can you understand me? Still no answer. He slowly took a water bottle from his bag and placed it near her. Her fingers moved slightly, but she didn't reach for it. People nearby began to whisper. Is that human crazy? He's touching. The dirt girl. Doesn't he know what she is? Jason ignored them. What's your name? He asked softly. Finally, she whispered something. It was weak, but he caught it. Lyra. Lyra, he repeated. I'm Jason. Her eyes widened a little. No one had said her name in months. Maybe longer. Are you hungry? He asked. She looked away. Jason took out a protein bar, opened it, and placed it in front of her. She stared at it like it was a trap. Slowly, carefully, she reached forward with shaking hands and grabbed it. She ate it in small bites, like she was afraid it would be taken from her. People kept watching. Some laughed. Some filmed. Jason stood up. Do you want to come with me? Lyra froze. I have a ship, he said. I can get you cleaned up, warm, safe, no tricks. Tears appeared in her eyes, but she didn't cry. Please, he said. Just nod if you want to leave this place. She looked around, at the signs, the mocking eyes, the dirt. Then she nodded. Once. Jason stepped forward and gently wrapped his coat around her. She flinched at first, but then leaned into the warmth. Gasps echoed across the market. He picked her up. He's touching her. He'll get cursed. Jason ignored them. He lifted her into his arms. She was so light, like she hadn't eaten properly in weeks. He turned and walked through the crowd. People moved aside, shocked and disgusted. Jason didn't care. He just kept walking, carrying the dirty alien girl. No longer a shadow, no longer alone. Because, in his arms, was someone worth saving. Jason carried the girl through the crowd like she was made of glass. Each step he took felt heavier, not because of her weight, but because of the many eyes staring at him, judging him, whispering behind his back. Did he really pick her up? He must be out of his mind. That girl's a curse. Human or not, he'll regret it. But Jason didn't stop. He didn't look back. Lyra's small fingers clutched his shirt like she thought he might disappear at any second. Her body trembled against his chest, but he kept his arms steady. They reached the main square of the marketplace where a giant fountain stood in the center. The square was usually filled with children laughing and vendors selling sweets. But today all laughter died when Jason entered the space carrying her. An alien official wearing gold armor blocked his path. Halt, you are carrying a restricted being. By law, she must remain isolated. Jason didn't flinch. She's not a thing. Her name is Lyra. She is Jirellen filth, the official barked. Marked, outcast. You'll bring disease to the whole. Station! Jason looked him in the eye. Then I'll leave the station, but I'm not leaving her behind. The official raised a hand. Guards! 2 armored aliens stepped forward with electro-spears. Lyra buried her face in Jason's chest, her whole body shaking now. Jason's voice stayed calm. You touch her, and I will end you. The words didn't come like a threat, they came like a fact. The guards hesitated. One of them lowered his spear just a little. A merchant from the crowd shouted, Let the fool leave. He'll die soon. Enough, another added. Let them both rot in space. She's not worth the fight. Jason slowly stepped forward. The guards didn't move. He passed the fountain, then the food stalls, and then the exit gate. No one stopped him, but everyone recorded. Hours later, on a viral social media feed called GalaxNet, the clip was everywhere. Human carries cursed Jirellen girl through Gorvax market. Insane. This Earthman is either a hero or a dead man. Watch the alien girl's eyes. She's terrified. Millions of views in just 1 hour. Jason had no idea. Back on his small cargo ship, Jason gently laid Lyra on a cushioned seat. She hadn't spoken again. Her arms still hugged her body like a shield. He brought her water and placed it beside her, then sat across the room, giving her space. Silence hung between them, soft and heavy. After some time, Jason stood up. There's a shower down the hall. Warm water, real soap, clean towels. She didn't move. I know it's scary, he said gently, but no one here will hurt you. You're safe now. Still nothing. He sighed and turned to leave, but then, why? Jason stopped. Her voice was quiet, almost a whisper. Why are you helping me? He looked back at her. Because you needed help. No one helps the cursed. Jason walked closer, knelt beside her. I don't believe in curses. She stared into his eyes. They said I would infect anyone who touched me. I'm still here. Tears slipped down her face, but no sobs. Just quiet pain falling from her eyes. Jason smiled gently. Now go take that shower. Trust me. It'll feel like magic. As she disappeared down the hall, Jason sat alone. He finally let out the breath he had been holding since the market. He knew this wasn't over. Someone would come looking. Someone always did when fear ruled people's hearts. But for now, he had done the right thing, and deep inside he already knew. This girl wasn't a curse. She was a secret waiting to be uncovered. The sound of water echoed softly through the small hallway of Jason's ship. Lyra stood just outside the bathroom door, staring at it like it was something alive. Steam curled from inside, warm and gentle. The light was soft. A fresh towel hung nearby, clean and white. She hadn't seen anything clean in a long time. Her feet were bare, leaving small, dirty prints on the floor. She looked down at herself. Mud caked on her skin, her long hair matted and tangled, her clothes torn like old rags. She could smell herself, and she hated it. She had been called names. Filthy, cursed, a disease, and after some time even she started to believe it. But the human, he hadn't looked at her like that. He had seen her, not the dirt. She stepped into the bathroom. The warm steam touched her skin. It felt like a hug. The mirror on the wall showed her reflection, and she almost turned away. But something inside her said, "No more shame." She reached for the water. The moment the hot stream hit her skin, she froze. Not because it hurt, but because it felt safe. Her body trembled as the mud began to slide off. Brown water ran down her arms. Gray slime dripped from her legs. Her fingers dug into her skin, scrubbing away the layers. She kept rubbing, harder and harder, like she was fighting a monster living on her. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She washed. And for the first time in years, maybe since she was a child, Lyra felt like she was coming back to life. Jason waited outside, sitting quietly with a blanket in his lap. He had turned off the ship's main lights to make the place feel softer, warmer. He didn't know what Lyra would feel after the shower. Shame? Fear? Anger? He just knew she needed this. Not just to clean her body, but to remember she was still a person. The door clicked open. Jason looked up. Lyra stood there, wrapped in the towel. Her skin, now clean, had a soft silver shimmer. Her cheeks were pale, but glowing. Her hair, though, wet and wild, looked like soft night strands with a hint of violet. Her face, for the first time, was clear. Jason's eyes widened. He couldn't speak for a moment. She wasn't just clean. She was beautiful. But her expression was unsure, almost afraid, like she was waiting for him to laugh or look away. He didn't. "You're Lyra," Jason said softly. "Now I can see you." She blinked, surprised. "You don't think I look strange?" "No," he smiled. "You look like someone who fought through hell and still stood up." She looked down at her feet, then slowly sat beside him. Her fingers clutched the edge of the towel tightly. Jason gently handed her the blanket. She wrapped it around herself, and for a moment neither of them said anything. Then she asked, "Do all humans treat strangers like this?" Jason chuckled. "Some do, some don't. But I had a sister, once. She was lost, hurt. No one helped her. I promised myself if I ever saw someone like that again, I'd do something." "You helped me," Lyra whispered. Jason looked at her. "I saw someone worth helping." Her lips trembled. "I don't remember the last time I felt warm," she said. "Or clean. Or human." "You don't have to be human to feel like one," Jason said. "You just need someone to remind you." A tear rolled down her cheek. Jason didn't wipe it. He let her cry. Quietly. Freely. Outside the ship, the galaxy moved on, cold, busy, full of rules and cruelty. But inside that small space, something powerful was happening, not just kindness, not just healing, but hope. And it all started with a hot shower and someone who chose to care. The stars outside the ship glowed calmly, but inside, danger had already begun to rise. Jason sat at the cockpit, scanning through recent messages on the comm screen. His face grew serious. "Lyra," he called out. She entered from the small rest area, now wearing clean clothes Jason had found in storage. Her long silver blue hair flowed softly down her back, and her skin glowed faintly under the cabin lights. But her eyes still held worry. Jason looked up at her. "You need to hear something." He pressed play. A voice crackled through the speaker. It was sharp, cold, and robotic. "This is a broadcast from the Jirellan House of Purity." The girl known
as Lyra has escaped exile. She carries a biological threat and must be returned.
"Anyone who sees her must report her location immediately. A reward is offered." Lyra stepped back, her breath catching in her throat. "They found me?" Jason nodded. "The video of us went viral. Half the galaxy has seen your face now." She gripped the back of the chair. "They don't care about disease, they care about shame. They're afraid people will see what they did to me." Jason stood. Then we don't hide. She looked at him confused. What do you mean? We run, but not forever. We survive. And then we fight back. The first ship came 2 hours. Later, Jason's sensors beeped. One small bounty cruiser registered as private security. No government code. Mercenaries. Hold tight, Jason said, locking the controls. They're not here to talk. He lifted the ship off its quiet orbit and shot into the lower atmosphere of a nearby moon. The sky turned gold. Thunder rolled. Lyra watched from behind him. Are they going to shoot us down? They'll try, Jason said. But I'm not going to make it easy. A blast struck the rear shields. Jason growled, gripping the controls. These bounty hunters are fast, but they're not smarter than me. He flew low, weaving through canyons and firestorms. Behind them, the enemy ship chased like a vulture, firing blasts that lit up the clouds. Lyra held onto the railing, her eyes wide. Jason turned to her. Do you trust me? She nodded slowly. Then hold on. He jerked the ship into a sharp dive, spinning between sharp rock spires. The hunter ship followed, but clipped a ridge and spiraled out of control, crashing into the dirt far below. Jason leveled out, breathing hard. Did we win? Lyra asked. For now, he said. But more will come. Later that night, they landed on a small hidden station deep in asteroid fields, unmapped, unregulated, and silent. Jason checked the outer cams. We've got a few hours, maybe less. Lyra sat beside him. You don't have to do this, you. No. Jason raised an eyebrow. Do what? Risk everything. For me. He looked her in the eye. You were alone. You were suffering, and I couldn't just walk away. No one's ever done that for me. Jason smiled gently. That's the problem with this galaxy. Too many people walk away. Lyra leaned her head against his shoulder. For a while they just listened to the quiet hum of the ship, but even silence carries danger. A new alert lit up the screen. Multiple signals approaching, heavily armed, not friendly. Jason stood. We need to leave, now. Lyra followed him to the cockpit. Where will we go? He looked at her, and in that moment, he made a decision. Somewhere they won't just listen, but help us tell your story. As the engines fired up again and the stars streaked by the window, Lyra sat quietly. She was still afraid, still hunted, but this time, she wasn't alone. A human had chosen her, protected her, fought for her, and for the first time in her life, she believed she was worth saving. The stars outside were quiet, but inside Jason's ship, war was building. The bounty hunters had doubled. No, tripled. 10 ships now chased them across dead systems and ancient ruins. Jason's engines were worn, fuel was low, and time was running out. Lyra sat in the co-pilot's seat, her fingers gripping the arms tightly. They won't stop, she whispered. They'll hunt me until I vanish or until I'm dead. Jason stared straight ahead, his jaw tight. Then it's time we stop running. She turned to him. What do you mean? He tapped a button. A hologram lit up, a network map of star systems, media hubs, and communication relays. Jason pointed to a blinking red dot. Right there, the Arcos beacon, one of the largest intergalactic broadcast towers. Open frequency, uncensored, untraceable for 30 seconds before encryption kicks in. Lyra blinked. You want to tell the galaxy my story? Jason nodded. They need to know what your people did to you. The truth can change everything. Lyra hesitated. But what if they don't believe me? Jason met her eyes. They will. Because I do. Hours later, the ship slipped past asteroid fields and hovered above the beacon's docking ring. The station was mostly abandoned. Just old machines and signal bots. Jason climbed out, toolbox in hand. Lyra followed slowly. Her heart pounded. Each step forward felt like walking toward a storm. Inside the tower, the control room flickered with light. Jason sat at the terminal, wired in a small camera, and set the countdown. 30 seconds, he said. Tell your truth. Lyra stepped. In front of the lens, she took a deep breath. My name is Lyra of the Ziralan House, she began. I was born to a noble line, but when my body began to glow a different way, they called it a curse. They said I would bring disease. I was thrown into the dirt, beaten, chained, left to rot. Her voice shook, but didn't break. No one helped me, until a human saw me in a marketplace, and didn't turn away. Jason smiled behind the camera. This galaxy tells us that only perfect beings are worthy of love or life. That's a lie. I am not cursed. I am alive. I am someone. And there are more like me. Hiding. Hurting. Forgotten. Lyra's eyes glowed with strength. You don't have to save everyone, just don't ignore us anymore. The transmission cut. Jason quickly encrypted the signal and wiped the logs. But the damage was done, for their enemies. Minutes later, red lights filled the windows. Hunter ships, 12 of them, surrounded the beacon. Jason, Lyra said, softly. They're here. He loaded the main gun systems. Let's give them a reason to regret coming. A voice came over the ship's channel. Surrender the girl and live. Jason leaned in. You had your chance. Now you deal with me, he fired. Lasers lit the sky. Explosions rocked the beacon. Jason flew the ship through the chaos like lightning through a storm. Lyra manned the rear guns, her hands steady. They dodged blasts, weaved through wrecks, and struck back with everything they had. One hunter ship exploded. Then another. But they were still outnumbered. Suddenly, a new signal broke through the static. This is the free cruiser Emerald Sun. We saw your broadcast. We stand with you. A giant civilian ship entered the battle, firing at the hunters. Then another message. This is the Rex and Dawn. We heard her voice. Protect that girl. More. Ships appeared. Resistance fighters, traders, even old war vets. People across the stars had seen the truth. They had heard Lyra, and they believed. The hunter fleet, confused and outmatched, began to pull back. The last of them jumped into warp and vanished. Jason leaned back in his seat, sweat dripping down his brow. We did it? Lyra sat beside him, eyes wide, her body trembling. Jason, they came. They fought for me. He looked at her and smiled. No, they fought with you. As the stars calmed again, a new message came in. This time from the Intergalactic Council. Lyra, daughter of Shirellan blood, we request your presence. Jason raised an eyebrow. Think they want to apologize? Lyra held his hand. I don't need their sorry words. I just want to make sure no other girl is ever thrown away. Like I was, Jason nodded. Then let's make that happen. The great chamber of the Intergalactic Council had never been so silent. Lyra stood at the center of it, no longer hidden behind rags or wrapped in shame. Her silver blue skin shimmered softly under the chamber lights, and her violet eyes glowed with calm fire. She wore no crown, no armor, no titles, only a plain white dress, clean, simple, and honest. Behind her stood Jason, the human who had carried her out of the dirt, and with him, a quiet army of supporters, captains, citizens, even some alien children watching from the balconies above. They weren't warriors. They were believers. Counselor Jern, a member of Lyra's own species, stared at her with narrowed eyes. His robes were perfect. His face was sharp. You have made a mess of tradition, he said coldly. Our people do not air private matters across the stars. Lyra didn't blink. Your private matters include exiling children, beating them, leaving them to die in dirt while you smile in golden halls. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Jason watched. From the side, proud, Counselor Jern stepped forward. You were cast out for the good of our bloodline. You carry the mutation. Lyra raised her chin. Then let the galaxy see what this mutation looks like now. She pressed a small button on her wristband. A hologram lit up beside her, a recording of the marketplace on Gorvax 9. The way she had sat filthy and broken, the signs, the laughter, the way Jason had lifted her, the fear, the silence, the shame. Then it cut to her standing on the Arcos beacon, speaking her truth. Then it showed her in battle, fighting, surviving, living. "I am not disease," she said clearly. "I am not shame. I am not less. I was just born different." Her voice rang out like thunder. "And you feared that difference more than death itself." The chamber remained quiet. Then a voice from another seat spoke up, a counselor from a reptilian species, her scales glowing with emotion. "I saw your message, girl. My daughter was born with soft skin. Our laws say she must be hidden. But after hearing you, I let her walk in sunlight for the first time." Another voice joined in. "My brother was marked. I never spoke for him. I will now." And another, "You made us see. Not just you, but ourselves." Counselor Jern looked around, his authority cracking. Jason stepped forward. "This isn't just about Lyra. It's about every forgotten soul you buried to keep your world perfect. But perfection built on cruelty always falls." Lyra faced the council. "You don't have to accept me. I'm not here for your approval. I'm here so you never do this to another girl again." That night, the stars above the council world shone brighter than usual. Jason and Lyra stood on a balcony high above the city. The air was fresh. Below, people of all species gathered, chanting, cheering, waving. Some held signs. She stood. Others wore shirts. "We are not cursed." Jason looked at her. "You changed everything." Lyra looked down. "I only told the truth." He smiled. "The bravest thing anyone can do." In the days that followed, laws began to change. The Shirelan nobles were forced to rewrite their exile codes. New health studies proved Lyra's mutation was not a curse, but an evolution, one that gave her enhanced healing and empathy. What they once feared became something other species wanted to study, to understand, to admire. And Lyra, once the filthy girl, was invited across worlds to speak, to teach, to inspire. But she refused riches. She refused fame. She only asked for one thing: a home. Jason's ship became that home. At first, they traveled together. Quiet missions, peaceful planets, places where help was needed and voices were silenced. One day, on a quiet green moon, Jason stood by a small garden he had planted. Lyra came up beside him. "You still get dirt under your nails every day." Jason grinned. "Dirt's not the enemy. Cruelty is." She knelt beside him and helped place a seed into the soil. "You saved me," she said softly. He looked at her. "No, you saved yourself. I just reminded you how." She touched his hand. "Would you stay?" she whispered. "If I built a life here?" Jason looked at her long and deeply. "Only if I get to build it with you?" Months later, a new place was born. A center for the forgotten. A haven for the marked. They called it the Second Light. A home for those left behind, where healing came not from medicine alone, but from dignity, warmth, and being seen. Lyra stood at its gates every morning greeting new arrivals, children, cast-outs, refugees. She always began the same way. "What's your name?" And then, after they said it, she'd smile. "Well, I'm Lyra, and I believe in you." Jason watched from the gardens. He never expected to become a legend. But in every story told across the stars, there was always the human who lifted the girl no one else would touch, not to own her, not to fix her, but simply to remind her she mattered. One evening, Lyra and Jason sat outside under the stars, the same stars that once watched her suffer in silence. Now they watched her rise. She leaned on his shoulder, her voice soft. "Do you remember that first night, when you wrapped me in your coat?" Jason nodded. "You smelled terrible." Lyra laughed. and it was the kind of laugh only someone who survived pain could have. Deep, free. "I thought you were stupid," she said. "Kind, but stupid." He smiled. "That's fair." She grew quiet. "But you were the first person who saw past my skin, past the dirt." Jason didn't answer with words. He kissed her forehead, gently, as if placing a crown on someone who had always been royal, but had just forgotten. From marketplace filth to a galactic voice, from cursed to chosen, from thrown away to loved. This was Lyra's story, and across the stars, it lit a fire no shame could ever put out again.